Hi there, my name is Tiernan and I'm going to do a reading from my novel, The Last Days of Joy. On a whim, Frances takes a detour to the beach on her way home. She sits on a rotting, washed-up tree trunk, ants scurrying through its dank crevices. The blackness of the trunk is so at odds with the golden sand that it triggers a memory of a different beach, long ago on the other side of the world. She closes her eyes and remembers the grey, gravelly sand extending to the grey-green water of the Irish Sea, which melds with the overcast sky at the horizon. It is cold, and the three of them are wrapped up in duffel coats, sitting on the red and green tartan rug that lived in the boot of the car. They are eating flaccid jam sandwiches, white bread as always. Joy is a distant figure standing by the sea's edge. Frances is anxious because her mother has been down there for a long time, unmoving. Sinead is still a toddler and is beginning to whinge. She needs a nap, so Frances tells Conor to keep an eye on her while she goes to get their mother. She starts off at a good pace, marching towards Joy, but the closer she gets, the less sure of herself she is. Mammy? Her heart is pounding in her chest. Her mother doesn't turn to look at her, stays rooted to the spot, staring towards the horizon. Frances is unsure what to do and is about to go and get Conor to help when Joy says, "I could just keep going now, just walk out there." She waves her hand over the expanse of water. "But I don't think the mermaids will sing to me either." Frances doesn't understand. She often feels like this around her mother, confused and uncertain. "Mermaids aren't real, are they, Mammy?" Her mother turns then, as if only now aware she is not alone. "It's a poem," she sighs. "You're such a prosaic little thing, Frances, aren't you?" Frances doesn't understand what this means either, but from her mother's tone, she doesn't think it is something to be proud of. Serious, cautious, careful, and now prosaic. Another word to add to the list Joy uses when talking about Frances. Her mother turns and strides back towards the others. Frances must run to keep up. Now the memory is interrupted by the laughter of a group of young Brazilians who seem to take over this beach in the summertime. They are boisterous and loud and give off a vibe of such nonchalant sensuality that Frances feels quite mesmerised. These glorious girls with their voluptuous behinds flaunted in tiny thong bikini bottoms, and beautiful shirtless boys diving athletically as they throw a frisbee to each other. She imagines herself at their age, remembers a late summer's day at Takapuna Beach with Andy 20 years ago. They'd skipped their lectures. Frances had felt torn, but it was only the beginning of term, and they headed there with a box of wine and swam in the ocean, and later, when the sun went down, they made love behind the surf club and were almost caught by a man walking his dog. She wants to be that girl again, the girl who skipped class and drank cheap boxed wine without snobbery and had risky sex. This is the version of herself she wants to return to. The frisbee lands a couple of metres from her feet. One of the boys comes to retrieve it. He looks at her and grins. He has startling green eyes, almost unreal, and smooth golden skin. Frances smiles shyly, then looks down as he runs back to his friends, embarrassed by his beauty, shocked by her own desire. He can't be much more than 18. The unfiltered New Zealand sun is especially prickly today, and she realises she has forgotten to put on sunscreen. She can feel the freckles forming on her nose and forearms and curses her ill-suited Celtic complexion. She kicks off her flip-flops, traces with her finger the stark Y shape they have left on her brown end of summer feet. The nude nail polish on her big toe is chipped. She digs the offending digit into the sand so she won't have to look at it. "You're the one I've always wondered about, Franny." Well, what the fuck is she supposed to do with that nugget of information? She peels off her clothes, leaving them in a neat pile on the tree trunk. The tide is way out and the sea gives off a turquoise haze. "This is for you, Mammy." And then Frances McGevitt, in her very best, matching silk underwear, runs and hurls herself into the blue Pacific Ocean. As she does, She fancies she hears a cheer from her mother. Then she realises it is, in fact, coming from the Brazilians.